Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop, waking up, going through the motions, and ending the day feeling like you're no closer to the life you want? What if I told you the secret to breaking free and creating a life you love starts with your mornings? That's exactly what The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod is all about. This isn't just another self-help book filled with generic advice. It's a step-by-step guide to unlocking your full potential before the rest of the world even wakes up. Hal Elrod takes a revolutionary idea and makes it surprisingly simple. How you start your day determines how you live your life. Think about it. How many times have you hit snooze on your alarm, wishing for just a few more minutes of sleep, only to end up rushing through your morning and feeling behind all day? I've been there too, and let's be honest, it's not exactly the recipe for success. But what if you could start each day with purpose, energy, and focus? What if just an hour in the morning could lead to breakthroughs in your health, happiness, relationships, and even your bank account? In this video, we're going to break down the Miracle Morning, exploring why so many people swear by it, and how you can make it work for you, even if you're not a morning person. Because let's face it, not everyone jumps out of bed ready to conquer the world, and that's okay. Hal's approach is all about progress, not perfection, and he gives you the tools to make mornings something you look forward to, not dread. Now, before we dive in, let's make this a conversation. If you're enjoying these book summaries and want to see more, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What does your morning routine look like right now? Are you someone who wakes up with the sunrise, or are you still hitting snooze when the clock hits 9? Share your stories because we're all on this journey of self-improvement together. And who knows? Your insights might inspire someone else. All right, let's set the stage. Hal Elrod's life wasn't always the success story it is today. In fact, he faced a series of devastating challenges that would have left most people completely defeated. Imagine being in a car accident so severe that you're declared clinically dead for 6 minutes, only to wake up and be told you might never walk again. That was Hal's reality. And if that wasn't enough, he later found himself drowning in $425,000 of debt, battling depression, and struggling to rebuild his life. It's a lot to overcome, right? But what makes Hal's story so powerful isn't just that he survived. It's how he turned his struggles into fuel for personal transformation. That's where the Miracle Morning comes in. Hal didn't just want to rebuild his life. He wanted to create a life of purpose, joy, and abundance. And he realized that the secret wasn't some complicated system or expensive program. It was all about mornings. By changing how he started his day, Hal discovered he could completely shift his mindset, energy, and results. And he's helped thousands of others do the same. But here's the thing. This isn't just for super disciplined morning people who naturally leap out of bed at 5 a.m. Hal's method works for anyone, no matter how many alarms it takes to get you out of bed. He even breaks down the psychology of why mornings are so hard for some of us, and offers practical strategies to make it easier. I don't know about you, but that feels pretty refreshing. Most advice just says wake up earlier, but Hal actually shows you how to do it in a way that feels manageable. One of the core ideas in the Miracle Morning is that you don't have to change everything in your life all at once to see big results. Instead, you start with small, intentional habits that compound over time. Hal calls these habits the Life SA50RS, and they form the foundation of his morning routine. Each letter stands for a specific practice: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, which is just a fancy word for journaling. What I love about Hal's approach is how flexible it is. He doesn't expect you to wake up at 4 a.m. or spend hours on these practices. If you're short on time, you can even do a 6-minute version of the routine. Yep, 6 minutes. That means there's no excuse not to try it. And let's be real. We've all wasted more time scrolling through our phones in bed, right? Personally, what struck me most about the Miracle Morning is how much it challenges the excuses we tell ourselves. Hal talks about how we often blame external circumstances for our lack of progress. Things like, I don't have time, or I'm just not a morning person. But the truth is, we have more control than we think. By taking ownership of how we start our day, we take ownership of our lives. It's a simple idea, but it's also incredibly empowering. So, as we go through this summary, I want you to think about your own mornings. Are they helping you become the person you want to be? If not, what small changes could you make? And remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Because as Hal says, When you win the morning, you win the day. Let's jump into the specific practices and strategies Hal shares in the Miracle Morning and see how you can start creating your own miracle mornings today. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this. It might just change the way you look at mornings forever. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to be crushing it in life while others just go through the motions? Hal Elrod's The Miracle Morning opens with a profound idea. The way you wake up each day has a ripple effect on every other aspect of your life. Think about it. How often do we snooze our alarms, start the day feeling rushed, and then wonder why we feel stuck or unproductive? Hal invites us to rethink our mornings, and in doing so, reimagine our lives. Hal's story is both inspiring and humbling. At 20, he was living the dream, success in his sales career, financial stability, and a loving relationship. But then came a life-altering car accident. He was declared dead for 6 minutes, spent 6 days in a coma, and woke up to a reality where he was told he might never walk again. This would have crushed most people, but Hal chose to see his adversity as an opportunity. He rebuilt his life, eventually discovering a powerful morning routine that he credits with, transforming everything for him, and now for countless others. Hal's philosophy centers on taking 100% responsibility for our lives. It's not about assigning blame or getting caught up in what-ifs. It's about focusing on what we can control. This hit home for me because how often do we waste energy on things we can't change? Hal's perspective shifted my own. Instead of being a victim of circumstances, what if we became the creators of our reality? The core of the Miracle Morning is about waking up with intention. Hal argues that most people live below their potential because they're stuck in mediocrity, simply going through the motions. He calls this the 95% reality check, where 95% of people never break free from a life that's just good enough. That stat hit hard. It made me think about the areas where I've been settling instead of striving for greatness. Hal challenges us to become part of the 5% who pursue extraordinary lives. What's truly eye-opening is how Hal breaks down the connection between mornings and success. He believes that how you spend your first hour sets the tone for the entire day. If you start rushed or reactive, the rest of your day follows suit. But if you start with purpose, you create momentum that carries you forward. It's such a simple concept, but its power lies in its simplicity. One thing I appreciated is that Hal doesn't pretend this is easy, especially if you're not naturally a morning person. I've never been one to leap out of bed excited to start the day, and Hal acknowledges this challenge. He even has a 5-step strategy to make waking up easier, from putting your alarm clock across the room to brushing your teeth right away to wake yourself up. It's all about small, actionable steps that make mornings feel less daunting. Hal's own transformation and those of people he's worked with are incredible. For example, after implementing his routine, one person doubled their income, another lost 25 pounds. And someone else finally started pursuing a lifelong dream. These stories make you think, if they can do it, why not me? This first part of the book really sets the stage for the practices that follow. Hal emphasizes that success isn't about doing everything perfectly, it's about consistency and showing up for yourself daily. That idea resonated with me. Too often we set massive goals and then get overwhelmed. Hal's approach is about starting small but doing it every single day. Hal's optimism is contagious. He truly believes that everyone, regardless of where they're starting from, has the potential to create a life they love. All it takes is the willingness to wake up, both literally and figuratively. Now that we've set the stage, let's get into the heart of the Miracle Morning. This is where Hal introduces the Life Essay 50 RS, 6 powerful practices designed to transform your mornings, and ultimately, your life. At first glance, they might seem simple, even familiar, but the magic lies in how they're combined into a focused routine. Let's talk about the SAVRS, which stand for silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. It's like a toolkit for personal development, and what's great is that it's flexible. Hal doesn't prescribe a rigid schedule, he encourages you to adapt it to fit your lifestyle, whether you have an hour or just 6 minutes. Yes, there's a 6-minute version. You can make it work. That alone felt like a breath of fresh air because so many self-improvement methods feel like all-or-nothing commitments. First, there's silence. This is all about starting your day with peace and mindfulness instead of chaos. It could be meditation, prayer, or even just sitting quietly and reflecting. I'll be honest, I thought I'd struggle with this one because my mornings usually start with a rush, but trying it out for just a few minutes felt grounding. It's like giving yourself permission to breathe before diving into the day. Hal emphasizes that silence helps reduce stress and clear your mind, setting the stage for a more productive day. Next, we have affirmations. I used to think affirmations were cheesy, like repeating "I am successful" in front of a mirror would somehow change my life. But Hal explains them in a way that actually makes sense. It's not just about saying words. It's about choosing beliefs that align with your goals and repeating them until they become part of your mindset. For example, if you're working on becoming more confident, your affirmation could be, "I am confident in my abilities and capable of overcoming challenges." It's about programming your brain to focus on what you want instead of what you fear. And honestly, it works. I found myself feeling more positive after just a few days of this. Then there's visualization, which is like daydreaming with purpose. Hal encourages you to imagine your ideal life in vivid detail, what it looks like, feels like, and even smells like. But he takes it a step further by asking you to visualize not just the outcomes, but also the actions you'll take to get there. This shift made a huge difference for me. Instead of just imagining success, I started visualizing the steps I'd need to take, and that clarity helped me feel more motivated. Exercise is the fourth practice, and Hal keeps it practical. This isn't about spending hours at the gym unless that's your thing. It's about getting your body moving to wake up your energy and boost your mood. Even a few minutes of stretching, yoga, or a quick walk can make a big difference. I tried adding some light exercise to my mornings, and the effect was almost immediate. It's like my brain switched on, ready to tackle the day. The fifth practice is reading. Hal emphasizes reading books that inspire you, teach you something new, or help you grow. He's a big believer in lifelong learning, and honestly, I am too. The idea is to feed your mind with positive, empowering content every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. I started reading a chapter each morning, and it's amazing how those small insights can shift your perspective for the rest of the day. Finally, there's scribing, which is just a fancy word for journaling. Writing down your thoughts, ideas, or goals can help you reflect, plan, and stay focused. Hal suggests using this time to express gratitude, document progress, or brainstorm solutions to challenges. I was skeptical at first because I've never been much of a journaler, but I gave it a shot. Writing about what I'm grateful for and what I want to achieve felt surprisingly energizing. It's like decluttering your mind before the day begins. What's interesting is how these practices work together. Alone, each one is valuable, but when combined, they create a routine that's greater than the sum of its parts. Hal describes them as the ultimate personal development routine, and honestly, I can see why. They cover mental, emotional, and physical well-being, giving you a balanced start to the day. One thing I appreciated about this section of the book is Hal's emphasis on customization. He gets that everyone's life is different, so he encourages you to tweak the SAVRs to fit your needs. Whether you're a busy parent, a student, or a working professional, there's a version of this routine that can work for you. That flexibility made me feel like I could actually stick with it, even on hectic days. Hal also addresses a common challenge, the snooze button. Let's be real, most of us have a love-hate relationship with it. Hal's take is that every time you hit snooze, you're essentially delaying your life. His 5-step snooze-proof wake-up strategy is genius in its simplicity. It includes practical tips like moving your alarm clock across the room, drinking a glass of water as soon as you wake up, and brushing your teeth right away to kickstart your energy. These small tweaks can make a big difference, and they've definitely helped me get out of bed more easily. What stood out to me most in this part of the book is Hal's optimism. He genuinely believes that anyone can create their own miracle morning and use it to transform their life. His enthusiasm is contagious, and it's hard not to feel inspired when you read about the real-life success stories he shares. From people who've improved their health to those who've turned their finances around, the impact of these practices is undeniable. This section left me with a lot to think about. I started asking myself, what would my life look like if I committed to this routine? What could I achieve if I started every day with intention and purpose? It's an exciting thought, and it makes you realize that mornings aren't just a time to get through. They're an opportunity to set the tone for everything that follows. As we move into the final part of the Miracle Morning, Hal focuses on how to sustain the momentum you build with your new morning routine and truly make it a cornerstone of your life. It's one thing to start something new with excitement, but sticking to it? That's where the magic and the challenge lies. Hal dives into practical strategies for building lasting habits, customizing your miracle morning, and overcoming the inevitable roadblocks. One of the most empowering ideas Hal shares is that success isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. He introduces the 30-Day Life Transformation Challenge, which is designed to help you lock in the habit of your miracle morning routine. The challenge is built on the science of habit formation, which, as Hal explains, typically unfolds in 3 phases. 1. Unbearable. Days 1-10. This is when change feels hardest. Let's face it, waking up earlier or trying something new isn't easy, especially when your body and mind are screaming for you to stay in bed. Hal doesn't sugarcoat this part. He reminds us that it's normal to struggle in the beginning, but that struggle is also where the growth happens. 2. Uncomfortable. Days 11-20. By this phase, you're starting to adjust, but it's still not second nature. You might find yourself questioning whether this new routine is worth it. Hal encourages you to push through, reminding you that you're closer to a breakthrough than you think. They're unstoppable. Unstoppable starts feeling automatic, and you experience the momentum that comes with sticking to something consistently. By the end of the 30 days, you've not only formed a habit, you've also started to see tangible results. What struck me about this framework is how realistic it is. Hal doesn't pretend that change happens overnight or that it's always going to feel easy. Instead, he gives you a roadmap to navigate the discomfort and come out stronger on the other side. It reminded me of times in my life when I've stuck with something despite wanting to quit, and how those moments of persistence often led to the biggest rewards. Another highlight of this part is the emphasis on customization. Hal understands that life is messy and unpredictable, so he encourages readers to adapt their miracle morning to fit their unique circumstances. For instance, if you're a parent with young kids or someone working a night shift, your miracle morning might look different from someone else's, and that's okay. The goal isn't to follow a rigid formula, it's to create a routine that works for you and supports your growth. Hal also addresses one of the biggest obstacles to long-term success, burnout. He reminds us that even the most effective routines need to feel sustainable, not overwhelming. If you ever feel like you're losing steam, it's okay to scale back temporarily. The key is to keep showing up even in small ways. This advice felt like a permission slip to be kind to myself on tough days, which is something I think we all need to hear. One of my favorite takeaways from this part of the book is Hal's perspective on identity. He argues that the real transformation happens when you stop thinking of your miracle morning as something you do and start seeing it as part of who you are. When you identify as someone who prioritizes growth, mindfulness, and self-care, sticking to the routine becomes natural. It's no longer about willpower, it's about alignment with your values and goals. Hal also dives into the ripple effects of the miracle morning. He shares stories from people who've used this routine to not only transform their own lives but also inspire those around them. One story that stuck with me was about a woman who started waking up early to work on her health and personal growth. Before long, her kids began to notice and wanted to join her, creating a ripple effect of positivity in her family. It's a reminder that our actions have the power to influence others in ways we might not even realize. As the book wraps up, Hal reinforces the idea that the miracle morning is about more than just mornings. It's about setting a foundation for the life you want to create. By starting each day with intention, you're building the habits, mindset, and energy you need to achieve your goals and dreams. Hal's passion for this message shines through, and it's hard not to feel inspired by his conviction. Reading this part of the book made me reflect on how much of life is shaped by our daily choices. It's easy to get caught up in the big picture and forget that real change happens in the small, consistent actions we take every day. The miracle morning isn't a magic bullet, it's a framework for showing up for yourself, day in and day out, in a way that aligns with your best self. As I finished the book, I couldn't help but feel a sense of possibility. Hal's optimism is infectious, and his belief in the potential for growth and transformation is something we could all use a little more of. The miracle morning is a reminder that no matter where you're starting from, you have the power to create a life you love, one morning at a time. So, what do you think? The miracle morning isn't just about waking up early, it's about waking up to your life's full potential. It's about saying, enough with just getting by, I'm ready for more. Hal Elrod's message is clear. The way you start your morning sets the tone for everything that follows. It's such a simple idea, but it holds the power to transform your days, your habits, and ultimately, your life. What really stuck with me is how accessible this process is. It's not about being perfect or overhauling your life overnight. It's about those small, consistent steps that compound into something extraordinary. And honestly, that's comforting. It means that no matter where you're starting from, there's a way forward. As I reflected on this book, I couldn't help but think about the ripple effects it could have if we all took our mornings more seriously. Imagine a world where more people woke up with intention, purpose, and gratitude. How would that shift our relationships, our communities, or even the energy we bring into our work and goals? That's the power of the Miracle Morning. It's not just personal, it's universal. Now I'd love to hear from you. Does this book inspire you to rethink your mornings? Do you have a routine that already works for you, or are you ready to give the Life SA50RS a shot? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on this. And if you try it out, let me know how it goes. If you enjoyed this summary and want to see more content like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's such a small action, but it helps us keep bringing you insights that inspire and empower. Plus, if you know someone who could use a little morning motivation, share this video with them. You never know how one simple idea could spark something amazing in someone else's life. As we wrap up, here's one final thought to take with you. Every morning is a blank slate. It's a chance to decide who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world. The question is, what will you do with it? Thanks for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Here's to creating your own miracle morning and maybe even a miraculous life.